What's going on, everybody? It's Tuesday morning, and it is part 2 of what I would have said on Fearless Podcast with Jason Whitlock. Just tried to get on for my segments. I had multiple segments scheduled, and unfortunately, technical difficulties again. I know that we'll be working on it tomorrow to try to figure out what went wrong. Without getting into too much detail, there's a new system involved, and for some reason, my system isn't picking up with that system. So we'll try again tomorrow. This is so unfortunate. It's like you work your ass off to get to a moment like this, and then to have technical difficulties enter in the way is super frustrating. But I'll continue to pray, and I'll do everything that I can. Obviously, I'm working here, right? I mean, you guys can hear me, and I can hear myself, and everything's working. But for some reason, it's not connecting on that end. So we'll try it again. So let me start with the Lions last night, and just the absolute unbelievable way that this team is coached. It is so incredible to watch something like this, and it's such a repeat of last year. I don't even know if we can handle this anymore as fans, but certainly as a coaching staff, as an organization, as players, they seem to not have any issue with this, whatsoever. The challenges that they're going through roster wise are absolutely incredible. To see the players who step up in the absence of an entire secondary just decimated by injury, by suspension, it's remarkable. I mean, Mallette and Hallett and Whiteside, and then Rock Ya-Sin. It's like, and of course, Amik Robertson, who's more of a regular guy. It's incredible to watch this take place and transpire. And it was basically a little bit less scoring for the Lions, but basically a mirror image of the Minnesota game on Sunday Night Football to end the season, the regular season last year. They had 9 points, and the Bucs had 9 points last night. I mean, you can't even draw up a script any better. First of all, it's a very difficult place to come play on a Sunday night and a Monday night. You got lathered up fans. They're loud. It's boisterous in there. And this was a must-win situation for the Lions. There's no way they could go into the bye at 4-3 and have Tampa Bay be 6-1. That's just somebody that you're going to have to go up against record-wise later on, and maybe meet each other later on down the road. Dan Campbell just does not get enough credit whatsoever. I'm going to see if I can pull up a clip here. I hadn't planned on doing this, but it's so good that I have to pull this up here. So let's see if we can get this in here.
Defense. Listen, 9 points allowed, 4 of 16 on third down, 1 interception, 1 fumble recovery, 252 yards allowed, man. That's outstanding defense. Listen, we did what we had to do. There's things we got to clean up, but I tell you what, defense, you play like that, you win every game. That's the bottom line. That's outstanding. That's the way to cut it loose, just like we talked about, guys. All right, I got really 3 game balls. I'm going to start on offense. 136 rushing yards, 82 receiving yards, 2 total touchdowns, 218 total yards. Jameer Gibbs. All right, on defense, 8 total tackles, 1 sack, 1 quarterback hit, 2 TFLs, 1 pass defense, Jack Campbell.
I appreciate you guys. DB's hell of a job today. Hey, let's keep it going. Yep.
Listen, and this guy, man, I feel like he's been on the come for a while now, man. Playing really good football and just versatile, man. And to have this guy back, it's been big. 5 total tackles, 1 sack, 1 quarterback hit, 1 TFL, 1 pass defense. Man, come on up, Barnes.
It feels so good to be back, man. Bro, that was a long recovery for me, bro. To be back mean a lot to me, man. This really go to Shep, man. He didn't put us defense in a great position, bro. We go out and make plays, bro. I gotta give this to my defensive coordinator, man. I already know,
bro, I ain't shit without y'all, bro. Forever in the day, this league been about players, always will be about players. That's why it was an honor for me to take this job. Fellas, it's only the beginning. Do y'all see how good we can be? Yes, sir. It don't matter. Nameless faces, we don't give a fuck. We line up and play anywhere. I love the fuck out of y'all, man. I appreciate the fuck out of each and every one of y'all. D-Bones is yours. Yes, sir.
Break it down. Let's go.
Go to the line. Let's come back hungry. 1 on 3. 1, 2, 3. Win.
So the Lions built an organization like that with the right players and the right coaches. And even when certain players go out, screen here, when certain players go out, new players come in, but the culture and the leadership at the top, it does not change. In my opinion, he's gotten a lot of credit, but I don't believe it's enough credit. Dan Campbell is, if he is not one, he's top 2. Greatest coach in the NFL, and he's not even 50 years old yet. And I actually think what we're seeing is historic. The type of things that we are seeing, it just doesn't happen, folks. You can go back to the greatest from, say, in 72 with Don Shula and come all the way up. The Belichicks and the Cowers, there's many, right? Andy Reid's, there's so many guys. Jimmy Johnson. But to see teams be decimated like this, when cards are all down, chips are down, everything is stacked up against, there's every reason to fold up and wrap it up and say, hey, it's okay if we lose. We're supposed to lose. That's not what this is. It's a next, I say it all the time, it's a next man up mentality. There are no excuses whatsoever, and it's from the top. So when you see what's going on in Cleveland, you see what's going on in Miami, you see what's going on in other places, and it's just mumbo jumbo, mush mouth. There's no consistency, no identity. There's no plan. And it's just like this daily. It's like shoot from the hip and no one knows what's going on. The plan has been clear from the start with this team. And I'm going to show you another clip here that speaks so to what we're seeing right now. And it's relative because of the play Penei Sewell made last night. It is totally not normal. Like, it's absolutely not normal. I'm going to show you the clip first of Penei Sewell in the play he made, getting out in front and running basically with Jahmyr Gibbs. Check this out.
The right tackle. Look at the athleticism of this guy. I mean, he's out front, and he's not able to make the key block to turn him loose and let him into the end zone. Winfield, he just...
I mean, that's an offensive lineman, 300 pounds. Check this out from 2021. I remember this. I remember it well. This is leadership. This was a plan. This was an identity that they were looking to establish. And I remember Detroit fans, even I a little bit, is like, that's not a sexy pick. It's an offensive lineman. Check this out.
Penei, it's Brad Holmes, GM with the Detroit Lions. How you doing, man? Hey, I told you I'd follow up with you, man. You ready to be a Lion? All right, man. Well, we're about to pick you here, man. Congratulations, man. Hey, it's one pride over here, man. We want you in this pride, all right? You're going to be a big part of what we're doing going forward, all right, man? All right, man. Congratulations. Congratulations, man. Enjoy with your family, all right? Hey, let me get you on the phone with our head coach, Dan Campbell, all right? Congratulations, big man, all right?
Big man.
Watch Brad Holmes.
We are fired up, my friend. You're going to change the culture for us, man. We're going to build this thing around guys like you. You hear me? You come in and play just like you've been playing, man. You come in to compete, man. You be just as nasty and as dirty as you've been, and you're going to help.
Brad's about to lose it here.
Winners, man. All right, you're the building block. Do you hear me? All right. We're fired up, man. Hey, listen, I'm going to turn you over to our owner, all right? Sheila Ford Hamp, all right? So just a minute here. All right, brother.
Wow! That's a very exciting draft room.
That's outstanding. That's outstanding.
Wonderful. So can't wait to get you here.
Outstanding.
Help us.
So we got the point there. about how important that was to those guys to start out their tenure with an anchor on the right side that they could build around for the next 10, 12 or so years, barring injury. And it's where you got to start, man. It's the trenches. It's the O-line and it's the D-line and out from there. Whereas historically, the Lions were always about sexy, skilled players. I say it all the time. Charles Rogers, Roy Williams, Mike Williams, Eric Ebron at 10, TJ Hawkinson at 8, Brandon Pettigrew at 20. These are tight ends. These are luxury picks for a team that's one or two wins, or one or two players, rather, even one or two wins away from a Super Bowl or the playoffs or extending into playoffs. That wasn't the Lions then. And so when you go through a complete restructure and a rebuild and a rebrand and a reignition of culture, look at what they did. That's 5 seasons ago. This is the 5th season, and you saw it in action last night. Didn't just start last night, but you saw it. You saw it in full motion last night, and watch him just discard a defensive lineman and get out there. Now he whiffed on the defensive back, but you got a man running like that in front of you. Just an extraordinary performance all around. And what's really interesting to me is they still have not, the Lions still have not hit on all cylinders. There's been moments and flashes. The drive against KC last week was just whoa until you got to the goal line. That's like there's nobody in the league that can stop that. And there's nobody in the league that basically can score against that defense last night in that moment on Monday Night Football. So it's all of these pieces and flashes that are happening, and I think Campbell knows. He keeps on saying it. There's some things we got to clean up, and I typically can't stand the buys, right? Because it's like, we got to wait, 2 weeks. We can't see him again. But this is a good time. It's a good time for injury, and it's a good time to clean some stuff up. You're 5-2. You're feeling good going in. 7 games down, 10 to go. You come back with another division opponent on the other side of the bye, Minnesota, who's struggling. I would fully anticipate J.J. McCarthy to be back in. 6 to 8 week injury was some thoughts. 2 to 4 weeks was some thoughts. Actually, Adam Schefter put out 2 different reports at 2 different times. So no one knows for sure what's really going on there. But I got to believe that they want him back. And again, it's another 2 weeks. And he hasn't played in 3 weeks. So it should put him at about the 6 week mark. And I think we'll see him back. So just can't say enough. And you look at Aleem McNeil coming back to the defensive line. You look at the second level, obviously, with Barnesy that you saw there. And then the defensive backfield, no DJ Reed, no Kirby Joseph, no Brian Branch. Rakestraw already went out in the beginning of the year. It's like guy after guy. It's a mash unit. And it's just what a system that we saw last night. Truly, truly great to be a Lions fan. And I think we have so much to be happy about, not content with, but so much to be happy about. All right, Baker Mayfield, my co-host Luke, is not here. And that's probably a good thing. He was at the game last night. I haven't had a chance to talk to him yet. He sent me a couple of pictures and such. He dipped into the show last night, and we talked for a few. Yeah, I know, Zach. I don't know what the heck's going on. I mean, you can hear me. You can hear me perfect here, right? It's like I'm not having any problem this way. And I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on. I know that I'll be working with the producers and the tech guys probably tomorrow and see what the heck's going on. Again, it's a new system for them. The system prior, we didn't have any issues. So I don't know if it's something that some sort of block that's on my end or what. But yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm really, really frustrated. I'm not showing it, but I'm really, really, it's disappointing for me. I'm not disappointed with them. I'm disappointed because I've worked a long time for an opportunity like that, and we'll get it right. I still believe and I have faith that we'll get it right. So on Baker Mayfield last night, and as I said, Luke's not here, so I'm glad about that. Are we witnessing Baker Mayfield be exposed a little bit? Hear me out on this, and I didn't realize it until I checked into it this morning to prepare for Jason's show. Their 5 wins: Falcons, Texans, Jets, 49ers, and Seahawks. All right, 2 of those wins are pretty solid. The 49ers are pretty solid, and the Seahawks are pretty solid. 2 losses now. One, the Eagles at home for them, meaning at home for Tampa, and then to the Lions on the road last night. That's your 5-2. Again, Falcons, Texans, Jets, 49ers, and Seahawks are Tampa's wins, and where Mayfield did some things, and then the Eagle game, and then the Lion game last night. He's overthrown. This is what we were going to talk about on Whitlock today, on Fearless. Is he out of the MVP conversation now? I'm not going to get too much into that part of it, but he's overthrowing guys by 8 yards, 10 yards. And then I saw a clip, and I don't have it, teed up here, but you can see it on X post game last night. He's complaining about the refs, and he sounded so much like Baker Mayfield 1.0, which is a little bit surprising to me. And it's like when you don't get your way, you start to whine. I mean, if we're going to sit here and talk about officials, I mean, the Lions, as much as anybody or more than anybody, have every right in the world to complain about officiating. Like, rules get changed during Lions game historically. You can go back to Calvin Johnson days. It is no excuse. It's none. I'm confused about this. Check it out. You guys got to see this. You play the game, Baker, and things didn't go your way, and they didn't go well, and you got rattled, and you were off your spot, and the Lions knew it, and they exploited it. And yeah, he's frustrated, I'm sure, too, because he's missing a lot of guys, and that's no fun. But they did really well last week when they didn't have any guys, and they were on Shepard and Tez Johnson, and Mike Evans got knocked out last night, and that sucks and all. But again, it's next man up. And they weren't able to do it last night. And so the Lions, in his face, pressure most of the game, totally making him uncomfortable. He didn't have a chance to scramble around and get his 30, 40 yards a game rushing and just wreak havoc. And he's good at that. He's good at flushing out and making plays when coverage breaks down and guys come free. He couldn't do it last night. He couldn't do much of anything last night. And that is, I don't know if I would say that is fully on Baker Mayfield. That's as much or more on the Lions and the plan that they have and how they were lit up and how they were getting pressure through the middle on both ends, collapsing the pocket, no time. And, he had a couple of guys where he could have made plays against a suspect secondary, what's supposed to be a suspect secondary. Underthrow, overthrow, out of bounds, nowhere close, wrong route. Tez Johnson, 2 mix-ups I think we saw, 2 miscommunications. The ball goes one place and the route's being broken off another. So, yeah, Baker might have gotten a little bit of a reality check. We'll see how he responds to it. But that's I think that's a problem that Buck fans probably want to take a look at, and I'd be concerned a little bit about it. You got to beat quality teams, and they haven't really done that. And so we'll see how it plays out. All right, the LeBron conversation. I agree with Jason. I agree with his guests today. I think we're watching the absolute unveiling and totally the right for everybody to finally come at LeBron James on his way out the door. He has embarrassed himself for 20 years. Sorry, guys. I know there's people out there that disagree with me. I think the overwhelming majority agree with this perspective, in that he's created all of this. He created it by the way that he acted, with the decision, the insecurities, the chasing talent, chasing rings, so many teams. I'm here in Cleveland. I leave. I come back. Miami, Dwayne Wade, the Lakers. And then, I got to give the Lakers a lot of credit for what they did. They took a stand. And I think that's what it took for all of this to happen. If you saw Stephen A. Smith with Carmelo Anthony last night, it's almost like permission has been given. I agree with Jason on this 100%, that permission has been given to unload on the guy, and that there's no fear of repercussion. The league doesn't need him. The league doesn't want him. Players are coming out one after another, older players, like a Dr. J, people are feeling free to say whatever they want, and I believe that it's been in them. It didn't just happen. It's gotten worse, but I believe this has been in them for a long time, a long, long time. And it's just now, boiled over the surface, and it's now coming out. And I still say this, Steve Kim was on the show and he said, he still got him at 2, at number 2 all time. And Jason's eyes lit up. I have him at 14. And that went up again yesterday. The list went up. I have a clip on YouTube. Check it out at PB Sports Talk. It's 38 minutes and it goes through the top 15 all time players. And I explain my criteria to that. And I have him at number 14 of the 15. I would never in a million years build my organization around my franchise, whatever you want to call it, team, around LeBron James. Not from a talent perspective, not from an attitude perspective, not from a leadership perspective, not from a character perspective, none of them. Yes, I dislike him as a player, but that's not why I would say that. Like, so if you said, here's, whatever, $3 billion, you own a team, and everybody's in their prime, of all those 15 guys I list, 1 or 2 of them I might shift around, but I'm not shifting him around. People say if I start the conversation at 2 or I start the conversation at 3, this morning I was called a thug. This morning I said this guy is so misinformed. He says, you're saying that because you're black. I mean, I got a little bit of a tan, but I don't think I'm black. It's just a sheer opinion based on everything that we have seen. When things were required for him to carry a team and to stay put, he couldn't do it. I put a clip up on X today, a graphic up on X, and Michael and Kobe played for a grand total of 3 teams, and that's if you want to, consider the Washington Wizards, which Michael Jordan became a part owner player of, which was at the very end, 37, 38. I don't know if you want to include that, but I did, to be fair. And then you have Durant and you have LeBron have been on a total amount of 9 teams between the 2 of them. And that includes Cleveland. To then leave Cleveland to come back to Cleveland, it's still another team, 9-3. And I noted that one side is loyal, and the other side is selfish, and that history will remember it. And history is remembering it right now. It's been talked about for years. A lot of guys have built careers on Skip Bayless being one of them that has built a career on exposing LeBron. More recently for me over the last year, and I felt this way for years. But since I put a microphone in front of me, I've done some exposing, and it's all over my YouTube account. And I give the reasons why, which I believe are legitimate. He isn't even close to being the most complete basketball player of all time. It isn't even close. And the older players say it, the current players say it. When we knew we were playing him, he was easy to guard. And that's the truth. Michael Jordan, no one will ever say that. Kobe Bryant, no one will ever say that. The people of Larry Bird, they will never, ever say that. Isaiah, they don't say it. There's a whole Jokic, there's a whole list of guys. Steph Curry is unguardable. And it is just one part of the game, okay? There's a whole lot more to that, but he was not even close to being the most complete player. But it's really interesting to watch the complete undressing of him as a historical figure. And hey, Jesus, good morning or afternoon. Yeah, it's afternoon. At least on my time it is. It's really, I'm glad that this is happening. Again, to keep his family out of it, keep his wife out of it, and all that type of stuff, strictly from a basketball perspective. For the last 20 years, he's embarrassed the league. The league has spiraled under his reign. It's fallen apart in so many ways, and 100% of the reason is not because of him, but it has a lot to do with him. Like, ratings on TV went down for a number of reasons. We, I believe, live in a distracted society. People have so many things going on, the gamers and the gambling and YouTube and watching cuts instead of full games and the length of the season, and everybody wants something in smaller snippets now. All of those things are contributing factors, but Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant were must-see TV. He's just not. Nobody cares anymore, or very, a lot less care, and a whole lot more don't care than ever before about LeBron James. And his legacy is destroyed. And again, Mark Walter and the Lakers pulled the pin on this. And I don't think they get enough credit for this. They took a stand. They turned over their attention to Luka and in other places. He didn't like it. He opted in, and I think 100% he opted into that deal because of his son. Because if he opts out, then he leaves his son, and his son's alone in the NBA and in Los Angeles, and he most likely gets cut. So let me see if I can hang on a while longer. Plus, I want to hang on for my other son. And basically, nobody really wants me. I mean, he just has been totally exposed. Totally exposed. And most of the players say it. Kyrie Irving's came out and said it. Lots of guys, even Carmelo Anthony, who's one of his friends, said I don't know exactly when he said it, sometime in the last year, and said just like enough is enough already. I mean, just call it. And LeBron won't allow himself to do it for a whole host of reasons. He still thinks he can win another one and be on the level at 5 with Kobe. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen with the Lakers. You can look at on X, I put my rankings up of the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference. And I believe I have them at 9. Yes, 9 in the Western Conference. You're not beating OKC. You're not beating Houston. You're not beating Golden State. You're not beating any of those teams. You're not even beating Dallas. One of Jason's questions was that was going to be discussed on the show in my block was, can the league survive, without him? Sometimes having something to talk about, whether good or bad, is attention to the league, and you remove that, will that have a detriment to the league? In my opinion, this is an opportunity. Everyone's exhausted. Get him out of the way, and then the league can begin to heal and then can focus. Like, it's just a quick list here. Obviously, Cooper Flagg just came in. This is a guy who possesses ability and skill and a charisma about him that we maybe haven't seen. I think we see it with Shea, but the sheer size of the man and the multiple positions that he can play and the age, 18, 19, and what we're about to see is so kind of, I don't know if revolutionary is the right way. It's so unique that I think the league and the fans will rally around this. So you have Cooper Flagg, Anthony Edwards, Jalen Williams, Shea, Banchero, Maxey, Cade Cunningham, Wemby, Luka, Jokic. Those are just some that I think can carry this on. And again, people, I talk to them all the time. They got so sick of LeBron and his antics that they turned off the game. Now, does it mean that they're going to just all turn it back on? No, you got to work to get them back. And I think some of the dynamics of, what we see in the Western Conference as an example, Houston is really unique. They're the biggest team in the NBA. They're beasts defensively. They're going to be hard to score against. Durant is going to be able to just be, a secondary guy or a third guy. He doesn't have to come in and score 40. Whereas in Phoenix, that was what was expected. And in Brooklyn, that's what was expected. That's not expected anymore at 37. And by the way, I take the Kevin Durant 100 times out of 100 times, prime, and they're about the same age, close anyway, within 3 years. I take Kevin Durant 100 times out of 100 times over LeBron James. It's not even close, in my opinion. And I'll get lit up for that. So just go ahead and light me up and call me all the names you want. That's another guy that I take in front of him. But Houston, Dallas, Golden State is still interesting. How long can Steph Curry still play at this level? There's interesting storylines in the Western Conference. Even teams like Memphis, and what can they do? And they're interesting. There's a whole host of them. Let me just pull this up here, real quick on my feed from yesterday and or today. Yeah, so Thunder, the Clippers, the Nuggets, Warriors, Rockets, T-Wolves, another young team, the Spurs, Mavs, Lakers. I mean, that's just, a lot of teams there that are interesting to watch. Eastern Conference to a lesser degree, but there's reasons to watch the NBA and get his ass out of there. And I just think people will accept it more, or they'll at least entertain the opportunity to come back to the game, because I think he pissed off so many players. Back to Houston. So Durant and Sengun and Amen Thompson, Steven Adams, Clint Capella, Torrey Eason. I mean, these guys are most all of them, Durant with his wingspan, most all of those guys are lockdown defenders. So I think the NBA will be fine. I think they'll be in a better spot once he's gone. Some of the talking points will go away. Some of the people who've made careers off of it will have to adjust, adapt, or get left behind, find something new to talk about when he's gone. And I got to be honest, I don't think that there's a lot of networks and such. He'll go on podcasts and do things like that. Now he's talking, with creating his own league, and he wants to be an owner of a team. I don't think that broadcast networks are going to want to bring him on like NBC is bringing Jordan on, which, by the way, and Steve, I was so excited to talk about this. And Steve Kim, I just caught the snail end of it before I came on live. It's going to be interesting to see how much Jordan says. For the most part, Michael Jordan has stayed behind the scenes for the past 20 years. He's done other things. Obviously, owned the basketball team, the racing team. Obviously, he's got his Nike brand. He's traveled a lot. He's done a lot of different things, but he's mostly stayed clear of the limelight. First, let me just address this on LeBron. This is my own personal opinion. I'm not accusing anybody of anything. LeBron has walked around and said that Michael said, "I'll talk to you when you're done," like meaning done playing. I got news for you, LeBron. Here's my opinion. LeBron can't, or I don't think Michael can stand you. I don't think he likes what you did to the league. I don't think he likes what you did with the baton. I don't think he likes anything about you as a basketball player in terms of what you did for the NBA. I think he respects some parts of your game and some of your abilities, but the way you conducted yourself, the spoiled, rotten, flopping, whining, crybabying, what you did to the league, let's never forget. Magic Johnson and Larry Bird took the NBA off of tape delay at 11:30 p.m. on nights, Eastern Standard Time, I believe it was. And they built the league. And then guys like, of course, Isaiah was 81, Bird and Magic was 79. And of course, Isaiah and other guys came along, and then Jordan 84, 85. And then you take it all the way to 2003, essentially, with Kobe and all of that. And the handoffs were really well done. And the integrity of the league was never in doubt. Now, guys made mistakes. People know about some of Jordan's issues. People know about some of Kobe's issues. That is not to say that they are all saints. Magic obviously had his issues. Bird, there was some discrepancy about, or not discrepancy, but some argument about how good of a coach he was or how good of a front office exec he was, mostly clean from off the court. And this is not to say that LeBron James is some felon or has done criminal acts. I believe what he's done to the NBA in terms of a ambassador of the game, that part is criminal, not law criminal, but NBA criminal. And those guys, I don't think they like him for that. They work too hard to build it. The Barclays and those guys, what they say, it's like you don't conduct yourself that way. And as he keeps on going on, and everything that comes out of the guy's mouth, and this whole thing with the sciatic nerve, there is no sciatic nerve that's preventing him from playing, folks. It didn't prevent him from golfing all the months of the summer. It didn't prevent him from dancing. We got clips in Puerto Rico. We got other clips. Come on. I know it's not the exertion that it takes on a basketball court, but it came out of nowhere. All of a sudden, supposedly it happened in July, but nobody talked about it until some 10, 12 days before the season. How convenient. Shorten his workload. Give him an opportunity to stay on the outside, see what the Lakers have, see what the other teams have. And I think he's figuring an exit plan. I really do. I don't think he's going to retire. I really don't, because this clown is going to take an entire season and have everybody roll out the red carpets and the rocking chairs and the gifts and such like that. I don't think he's done. But the Michael Jordan aspect, to go back to that, if Michael Jordan really talks the truth, everyone's tuning into NBC. If he talks about the history of the game and that baton torch passing, as I mentioned, and how the game has changed, how it softened up, how it became a softer league and a higher scoring league versus what it was back. And no one's saying it needed to be the bad boys era or beat guys down or anything. But if he starts talking about that, and then he starts talking about the difference in people like him and Kobe and Bird and that to some of the newer stars, particularly LeBron, or the later stars that followed him, that will be must-see TV. And everybody, including me, will tune in to what he has to say. Kobe was such an intellectual about the game, but what he talked about, he played. Now we're going to see if Michael talks in anything he's talked about, he's played. He's the real king of the NBA. There was nobody ever and will never, I don't think, ever be another Michael Jordan. Kobe is the closest. LeBron is not even in the conversation. I want to hear him open up about his opinion on everything. I don't know if we're going to see it, but everyone's going to tune in to find out what he says. And then if he does go down that line, look out. That will be a renaissance of the NBA, and it might be part of the plan. I do think that there's a lot of back channel stuff that's going on as like kick LeBron out of the door. Nobody wants him anymore. Everybody wants to see him go away. The whole charade, get that away. Suddenly Michael Jordan comes into the picture. I mean, is that a coincidence? That's a hell of a coincidence if that's the case. He's maintained secrecy for the most part, a lot of it in his life, as far as coming on and getting a microphone and saying things. We don't really hear it. Now he's going to come on and that's going to be part of his gig. Is he going to just break down film and do like a Peyton Manning or an Eli Manning type of thing? How far is he going to go? You know, we're hearing certain things, but they're not going to give us everything. They're going to leave some out for us to experience and to tune in to witness. And I hope he does. And you know, Dr. J, I'm not sure when his quote was, but he said if he didn't do the jumping, he would have been, higher on my list, but he had him at 15. Dr. J, it's got him at 15. I have him at 14. Thanks, doctor. I appreciate that. I feel a lot, some validation as somebody with such, historical figure like that, Hall of Famer, would think that. I haven't heard anybody say 14, 15 until I did it. And boy, have I taken some heat. So I can't wait to hear what Michael says. I'm going to be tuning in, and I just hope he just speaks the facts. All right, one of the other two other final topics before I go here. I'll be out of your hair here in maybe 15 minutes or so. The Texans again last night, 4 turnovers against the Seahawks, and still came up short. I think that there's something here that we can correlate. 2 things, actually. When Tank Dell went down for the Houston Texans, everything changed, I think, mentally with C.J. Stroud. If you remember, when Tank Dell just absolutely destroyed his knee, that was so sad to watch. And the ambulance was on the field, and he basically shredded every ligament in his knee. And apparently that's C.J. Stroud's best friend. And he took it. You could see that he was crying on the field. And by all accounts, Tank Dell is such a good guy, and he hasn't been the same since. So that's one part of it. And then the other part of it is Bobby Slowick, who was the OC there for 23 and 4. In 2023, they were 22.2 points a game. That was Stroud's rookie year. That was the highest. 2024, a slight drop, 0.3 less at 21.9. And then this year, another slight drop at 21.6 through just 6 games. Since Bobby Slowick has been gone, and since Tank Dell has been gone, we're seeing a completely different C.J. Stroud. And there's really a third thing. They can't protect. It doesn't matter who you put back there as a quarterback. In the David Carr days, if you remember when Houston, they had no offensive line, and he got sacked 80 sometimes in a year and broke the record. It doesn't matter if you're Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Joe Montana, if you don't have an offensive line and you can't protect and guys can't get out and run patterns, then it doesn't matter what type of game plan you draw up. You're going to be doing dump downs because it's the only thing that you can do to avoid the pressure from burying you into the ground. So there's those three elements I think that are at play. Defensively, they're like fourth ranked in the NFL. So defensively, they're doing their job. It's offensively, they're more middling in the NFL right now, and they're behind, and they can't put the two together. And that's hard to do, right? All three phases of the game, coaches say it all the time, offense, defense, special teams. If one is hitting on all cylinders and another one's hitting on half the cylinders and another one's hitting on, who knows, somewhere, but not full, you get an average product. In order to be a Super Bowl contender, you have to have two of those three hitting on all cylinders, and one of them is at about 3/4. The Houston Texans are basically hitting mostly all cylinders defensively, maybe a third of the cylinders offensively, and special teams, is okay. So I think that's what we saw, and even four turnovers sometimes can't even help you. I think it was a +3 differential. I think Houston had 1 turnover, Seattle had 4, so you're +3. You're supposed to win that game. But if you can't execute, and here's another thing, timely plays, right? So it's like in baseball, timely hitting. There's timely plays at certain times of games, before half, coming out of half, starting games, ending games, 2-minute drills, all of those types of things. If you are not executing in those moments and it's just average and it's a malaise throughout the game, and you do that over an extended period of time, that's the result you're going to get. Sometimes you can be a negative turnover ratio, but you execute in those moments and it comes out on the plus side. If you have a bad offensive line, you have no chance. Absolutely. I'm just seeing that now from a couple minutes ago, but exactly, Zach. So I think that's what we're seeing with CJ Stroud. Did the guy forget how to play quarterback overnight? No, he didn't. Did he go through maybe a sophomore slump last year? I think there's something to that, but there's some fixing to do there, and I don't know if they're going to be able to fix it this year. Some of it's talent, some of it's the O-line, some of it's coordinator and the comfortability of it, and we'll see how it plays out. But that's what I would have said on Jason's show. And then finally, I don't have the clip up here, but if you guys saw it, Jimmy Haslam was on the sideline for the Cleveland Browns on Sunday's game, which was in Cleveland, and there's a row of people behind him, which it's being spun on X and other places that it's his family. I don't know for sure if it's his family, but I can tell you this with absolute certainty. I've been an owner of companies before, and you're always aware of your surroundings. Nothing ever to that type of level, but you understand your surroundings. You understand who you're around with. You understand who is taking a picture and who is not. There is no possible way on this earth that Jimmy Haslam is standing on the sidelines with some 65, 70,000 people watching live, all of the media who's there, on television and streaming or on Red Zone or wherever, the camera's going to pan to you. It is impossible, literally impossible, that he did not know that there was a row of either family or friends or sideline people with sideline passes that know him in some form or fashion, or the Browns in some form or fashion have, two of them have Shedeur Sanders jerseys on. This is all collusion and sabotage, folks. I've been calling this for weeks. Jimmy Haslam is the person who wanted Shedeur Sanders. I cannot be convinced otherwise. There's too much evidence to support it the other way. There's 100% evidence to support that it is Jimmy Haslam. And generally, if somebody comes out and says, nope, it wasn't me. Nope, it wasn't me. That's exactly who it was. So when he came under the tent with his wife and some sort of photo op, and he points and he basically says that was Andrew Berry's decision, that's when I knew for sure that it was Jimmy Haslam's decision. Throw your guys under the bus, all of this hoopla, all the commotion. Don't look at me. I let my GM do the job. He's the one who did all of this. You guys already came at me for being a fraud in my business, and I had to pay a $70 million fine because I defrauded people. Don't put this on me. Oh, and then you came after me for the Deshaun Watson debacle, part 1 and part 2, and he's still lingering around. Don't come at me because I'm the worst owner, maybe top 3 anyways, let's look at it the other way, bottom 3 of owners in the NFL and maybe all of sports. Don't come at me for that. Go ahead, Andrew Berry, because he's the one who took Shedeur Sanders. There's no way those football guys took number 3 and number 5, 3rd round pick, 5th round pick, and the same draft quarterbacks with the polarizing figure of Shedeur Sanders. If they believed, and I say they, meaning Stefanski and Berry, believed in Shedeur Sanders, they would have took him. It would have been reversed. If anything, if you're going to take 2 quarterbacks, you reverse it. What week do you think they will start him at QB? Because Haslam is desperate for him to start. I still have to hold true to what I was saying. I am not sure that he's coming in. I'm unless there's an injury, I'm not sure. The whole Deshaun Watson thing, he's under contract for this year and next. He put out a clip that was created by ESPN, and it went a little bit viral, and he looks pretty darn good. And Rizzo and some of those other guys, the Cleveland media are saying they've got inside sources that says, by December, and other source says it's even earlier than that. You just won a game. This is how convoluted this is. And it was the Dolphins. I get it. Was it overly impressive as far as Dillon Gabriel? No. He's doing what he's given to do with what he has to do. And 31-6, you beat the Dolphins. I mean, it's not like you go crazy about it, but you just won a game. This doesn't mean you're going to the playoffs. And the first thing everybody wants to talk about, and supposedly something's leaking out of the building that, Shedeur, like, it doesn't even make sense. I can't even think of a time where this has ever happened like this. Like rookie camp, mini camp, training camp, off season, that's when this stuff happens. You don't use the season as an audition. They are totally destroying their brand, in my opinion, which is a great brand. The Browns fans, the Browns logos, a lot of the Browns history is absolutely terrific. And it's like they can't get out of their own way. Do I think Deshaun Watson will start a game this year? It's hard to believe. I don't know how you answer that. Meaning from the Cleveland Browns, if you don't play Deshaun Watson, I don't know how you answer that. Because he's a $36 million dead cap hit. That's costing your team. No one's going to take on that money unless they see him play. If you want to try to work out a trade at some point, if your season's dead, are you playing Shedeur Sanders to, quote, see what he has? Or are you playing Deshaun Watson to try to offload that contract to somebody else who needs a quarterback? Potentially Cincinnati, Arizona. There's a whole bunch of places that if he can actually play, and you want to chalk it up as a Stefanski reason that he regressed as a quarterback, wouldn't you want to unload that contract? Well, I guess if you're the Browns, maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe ego, maybe proving I was right, that I said he was the guy. Maybe that runs the final decision. Maybe that's what it wouldn't surprise me. In fact, nothing surprises me. Guys, and I follow the Cleveland media a lot just because this is such a big story. And it's like, well, Dillon Gabriel didn't lose the game and they did win. But, if he doesn't come out and have a great game against the Patriots this week, I'm ready to see Shedeur Sanders. All right. New England, newsflash, is playing one of the best brands of football in the entire league. Any possible situation could be worse for Dillon Gabriel, and I would say the same thing if it was Shedeur Sanders. What that guy has had to come in and go up against in London with all the commotion, raining the other day, limited offense, all the toxicity going on around, this polarizing guy sitting behind you, the owner says one thing, the GM and coach says another thing. It's like, How do you even perform in that? So let me ask you this question. I'll get to your question in a minute, Zach. Let me get to this question. If Dylan Gabriel and the Cleveland Browns go into New England next week or this week and they win, then what? Then what are you going to say? If they go into New England and they show themselves well and Dylan plays a sound game and let's say it's turnover free or maybe one turnover that's maybe not his fault, then what? Like, what is the, again, it goes back to the Dan Campbell video I showed at the beginning. What is your identity? What is your plan? What is your strategy? We're running a dancing audition over here and a tryout, for American Idol, and let's see what the best voice is. Or are you trying to win ball games? If Dylan Gabriel comes out and shows well, and they win or come damn close, how is the conversation anybody else? Don't you want to try to go 2-5, or they are 2-5? Don't you want to go 3-6 and 4-6 and or 3-5 and 4-5 and 5-5? I'm not saying that's going to happen. Yeah. And then the Jets are right over on the other side of that. It's like, pay attention to what the hell's going on. Who do I think the starter for next year? I have no idea, honestly. And I'm Mr. Predictor and anticipate, decisions. I can't figure these guys out. It's the greatest diversion magic trick I have ever seen in my life. Like, find me a time in history where, and I haven't looked it up, to be honest with you, because I don't think it exists. I think it exists in the 1st and the 6th, or the 1st and the 7th, or maybe the 2nd and the 7th round. But at what point in history has there ever been a quarterback drafted 3-5? And then again, and it's not coming from Haslam, it's not coming from Barry, it's not coming from Stefanski, but we're gonna draft Arch Manning. This is before everybody is starting to see that Arch Manning's not ready. And then it's it's Mateer, and then it's like, what? Are we gonna just draft a quarterback every year or two and just see what happens? I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense. Yeah, you're 29 and you can't remember. Well, I'm 53 and I can't remember. It's insanity. It's total, absolute insanity. And I don't even know, like, if you ever wanted to find a way to cut your own legs out and not give yourself as an organization or as a team a chance, then draft a quarterback in the 3rd and 5th round, even if it's not a polarizing guy like Shedeur Sanders. The media will do a good enough job of saying A guy and B guy, which is better. He's no good. Put this one in. And then this one gets injured and then put this one in. And it's just a hodgepodge bullshit romper room. And it doesn't make any sense. That the outcome is not going to be positive, chances are. It's just an unfair situation to both players. This whole thing, even to Shedeur Sanders. So let's just say Shedeur Sanders gets an opportunity to come in. For all of the people out there that say I'm a hater and I'm a racist, and my prediction that kind of opened a lot of eyes about being a 5th round pick, I'm going to talk on the behalf of Shedeur Sanders here. If Shedeur Sanders gets the start in, I don't know, whatever it is, 3 weeks, and he comes out and has a bad game, does that mean he can never play because he has that one bad game? No, it doesn't. The same goes for him. How can he flourish or even succeed in a situation where you're looking over your shoulder the whole time? And it's not like one of those things where it's a backup quarterback that, it's a competitive environment and it's may the best man win. It was never set up that way. It's not designed. When you draft a 3rd and a 5th, and historically you have a problem at the quarterback position, and you have a guy who was allegedly caught with 20-some women doing nefarious things in massage parlors, that you have, $100 million or $200 million tied up in, it's not the standard backup. Hey, should I don't know, should Mac Jones be playing or should Brock Purdy be playing? It's not that situation. It's total unadulterated chaos, unadulterated chaos. And I don't see it getting better. And so if Shedeur Sanders comes out and plays bad once, if he comes out and plays bad twice, that's still not fair. Put Dylan Gabriel back in. Put somebody else back in. A 2-game, 3-game, 4-game, 6-game. You're a rookie. You're supposed to have a chance to develop, right? I don't see it. They have a bye week after the Patriots and then play the Jets. Is there any chance that's when Haslam tells them to play him? I believe he's telling them now. I really and truly believe that they're having infighting going on right now. And I think that there's resistance. And I think that Stefanski, believe it or not, is like, if you don't like it, fire me. I think Barry is much the same way. I think Barry's playing more the middle ground, but I think Stefanski is adamant that Dylan Gabriel's the guy and that Shedeur Sanders is not. And I think he's going to try to give Dylan Gabriel every possible chance he can before resorting to that. You know, I saw some people, this is how messed up this is. I got to get this out. So people are like, the Browns are up 31-6, and there's 6 minutes left. Why would you not put Shedeur Sanders in? All right, so you're up 31-6, and you put him in the game. You think the guy's going to drop back and throw passes up 31-6? No. You're going to run a 4-minute, 5-minute, 6-minute offense and try to run the clock out. So if they put him in, if Stefanski puts him in and he hands the ball off, it's a lose. If he puts him in and you start throwing the ball up 31-6, it's a lose. If you put him in and you let him throw, it's a lose. If he misses guys, you lose. If he throws and he completes and makes some incredible play, it's a lose. There is no out to this. No matter how, there is no out. Kevin Stefanski will be the head coach for another team next year. I can't imagine he wants to deal with this for much longer. I agree. The only thing that would keep him in place is it's one of 32 jobs. And I don't know if people are going to be banging the door down for Stefanski to come be their head coach. I think what will probably have to happen after he's gone from Cleveland is to go be a coordinator for some period of time. And then as the cycle of coaches goes through for a couple of years and he proves himself as a coordinator for somebody else, I think he maybe can rise to the top again and be a consideration. We've seen this happen so many times with guys, Raheem Morris being one of them, Brian Flores, those are defensive guys originally, but they went back, they earned their stripes, and they came back. We've seen it a million times. I think that's what we would see with Stefanski. So while he has the opportunity to be a head coach, I think he's going to stay there and he's going to deal with it because he's one of 32. And he's just hoping against hope to see some light at the end of the tunnel with what he's doing. Terry Bradshaw came out and said that he believes that Dylan Gabriel is going to be a star. And I've been on record as saying that I believe Cleveland has their franchise quarterback. Everybody's given me every reason that they think he can't do it. And I've had film. I've put film out there. You can look at the level of competition he played. Yes, college is a different ballgame than the pros. But again, how do you succeed in that environment? Like Joe Flacco couldn't succeed. Baker Mayfield couldn't succeed. Deshaun Watson couldn't succeed. If it ends up that Dylan Gabriel can't succeed, suddenly you think that Shedeur Sanders is going to, let's assume everything's the same personnel, same scheme, same coaching, that he's just going to somehow come in and change it all. It's just stuff like that. It doesn't repair itself that way. If you have protection problems, you have protection problems. If you have limited ability offensively, you have limited ability offensively. Yeah, they better draft 2 wide receivers in the first round next year. Again, as I showed, I don't know if you saw it, Zach, but I opened up the clip from 2021 with Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell drafting Penei Sewell. And if you watched him last night, pull and come on out and run ahead of Gibbs. Again, it doesn't matter what quarterback you have. It doesn't matter what wide receiver you have. If you cannot protect, you cannot have a guy run a 12-yard or 15-yard pattern and get the ball to him. So it doesn't matter if you have Justin Jefferson on one side, Jamar Chase on the other. If somebody's in the quarterback's face the whole time, then you have a problem. And they can't protect. The pocket is constantly collapsing, and it doesn't matter who it is. So if I'm the Cleveland Browns and I'm looking to rebuild, I'm looking at both sides of the ball on the line. That must be fixed first. Now, they're pretty good defensively, and they addressed it. I have my feelings about Myles Garrett, but they addressed him by re-signing him. And you addressed with Mason Graham and Schweisinger, you addressed that. And they've done some good things defensively, but that's not enough. And they haven't really addressed the offensive line. There's more to do there. Before you start drafting quarterbacks, before you start, I know it's not sexy. And that's why I opened the show with that the Lions, when they took them, there was all this talk in Detroit about, an offensive lineman, it sounds boring. And seventh pick overall, I think it was seventh or eighth, seventh, I think. And it's the offensive lineman from Oregon. And yeah, he was the best in the country, but it doesn't move the needle. Well, yeah, it does if you want to win. If you want to see somebody get 1,000 yards and 12 touchdowns or 1,200 yards and 12 touchdowns, and you're, 4-13, I don't want that. And we lived that in Detroit forever. And Cleveland's living that now. So this whole thing, I'm going to draft this quarterback and that quarterback and get 2 wide receivers, I respectfully disagree. It cannot be your focus. You got to go get the best players at the positions to where you can build out from both lines. That's why I disagreed with, here's a perfect example, and I'm all over video about Tom Brady and John Spytek taking Ashton Genty. You don't take him at 6. That's a luxury pick. I always say it. Let me explain what I mean. A luxury pick meaning if you were the Patriots or you're the Chiefs, as an example, if you were the Chiefs in that spot, you are a player or 2 away from winning yet another Super Bowl. And bringing a guy like that in to help solidify some things, that makes sense. But the Raiders have holes everywhere. Holes offensive line, holes defensive line, holes defensive secondary, wide receivers. I mean, again, stay away from the offense, build the trenches out, and they go take Ashton Genty with your 6th overall pick. It makes no sense. Now, I called for Mason Graham. Now, you can't take Mason Graham when he was taken before you, but if you wanted Mason Graham bad enough, you could have moved up and got him. You could have. I wanted them to take Mason Graham and circle back around for Travion Henderson, and we're all going to find out what the hell's going on with that, because that doesn't make sense to me what New England's doing. We'll see. But, you can't take Giante at 6, and likewise, you can't take 2 first-round wide receivers next year. It's no different. Till you fix your holes, that's not going to make you better. Because if you can't get the ball to him, I mean, how do you score? If your quarterback's getting injured because he's getting planted 2 feet under the turf, what'd you accomplish? So, yeah, Jimmy Haslam, I think he deliberately is sabotaging. I think the Sanders family has long been sabotaging. I think Mary Kay Cabot is sabotaging as Jimmy Haslam's bulldog, for lack of a better word, to get, I'm sitting there not this Sunday, a week ago Sunday, and she's tweeting 2 hours before the game about how phenomenal Shedeur Sanders is. I'm thinking to myself, who does that? Like, there's usually control. There's a little bit of control about what the team allows you to do. And if you cross a line, you can lose your credentials to report on said team. She could report from afar, as she's not employed by the Browns, but they could remove her credentials. So for her to type something like that, she has the blessing of ownership, management, whatever you want to call it. And it's just madness. And I think he knew who was standing behind him. Whether he's related to them or not is irrelevant. And this is just a total movement to try to get him in and watch the whole world meltdown because Shedeur Sanders is starting against XYZ team. Yes, he's angling for that. I think Stefanski's fighting him. I think Barry's trying to be the mediator or arbitrator. And I think he leans more to Stefanski's side because I don't think he wanted him either. Everyone's going to watch to see how it plays out. That's for sure. Everyone's going to watch to see if and when he gets in there. Everyone's going to watch, and there's a whole 70% of one side literally rooting for Dylan Gabriel to fail so that they can see Shedeur Sanders and what he can do. I mean, I don't know what the objective is, if it's to win or like you put up earlier on the screen for reality TV, because it sure is reality TV right now. It's like watching a football version of the Kardashians, which I've never watched in my life. So I'm just saying that because it's so popular. I think that's almost what this is. And it's kind of sad to watch. And I feel bad for Ohio and Cleveland fans. All right, guys. That's about an hour. Again, sorry about the Whitlock's Fearless show. Hopefully we get this ironed out. Supposed to talk again tomorrow about trying to get back on, and we'll run all the tests. Everybody seems to be hearing me loud and clear, and I can hear myself. So we'll figure it out. So everyone have a great day. Have a good Tuesday. Hug someone, hold someone, love someone. We'll talk to you soon. Have a great day, guys. Thanks for joining. Bye-bye.